sorry, I'm with this.
No worries. Will you please call roll?
Good.
Mr. Davis.
Here.
Ms. Stone.
Here.
Mr. Paspalakis.
Which one?
Here.
Here. Here.
Mrs. Mayara.
Here.
Ms. Ramsey.
Here.
Mr. Lee.
Here.
Ms. Register.
Here.
Mr. Paspalakis.
Here.
Mr. Phillips.
All right. So moving along, we'll try something a little bit different tonight. If there's no objection, we'll adopt a motion to approve the minutes as written.
So moved.
All right, no objection. The motion to approve the minutes as written is adopted.
We need to go ahead. We had a motion and a second, and
Oh,
just
okay.
do the go ahead all.
Okay.
In favor.
All in favor, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, respond by saying nay. Motion is adopted. Next item, DEV 2013-109, Site Plan 15 Boardwalk. This is continued for the last 2 months. The request is to continue it until next month.
That's correct.
Do we have a motion?
By the way, I have to abstain again.
Yeah. And we have somebody who would probably like to place their comments on the record before you guys take a vote.
Sure.
And we also have
And,
another.
yeah, so I didn't do that the last time. I thought if you can, I didn't know.
To be safe, I'd rather have the people with conflicts abstain from voting altogether. So.
Okay.
So we have 2 conflicts.
2 conflicts, and then we'll take public comment. So one conflict is
Yes.
Teresa, and then
Yes.
Dino Paspalakis.
Dino P.
Dino P. Thank you. Sorry. Can we go ahead and move forward while they're filling out paperwork?
Okay, and we'll have Dino and Teresa update their forms to reflect that there was a vote on for today's meeting.
Okay.
I don't have Teresa's old form in here. It's not in here.
We can handle it after the meeting.
Okay. Is there public comment?
Chairman and board members, I'm Jim Morris. I'm an attorney practicing in the area. I represent Dino Paspalakis, Lisa Paspalakis Soros, and ALNP Corporation. In regard to the property that you're considering, the Paspalakises are parties to a settlement agreement which gives them rights to the property. And I know you've had a continuing chain of continuances in relation to this request, and you haven't really gotten a chance, I don't think, to consider much of the substance of the request. And the concern that I have is that this matter is just rolling on and on without the board having any opportunity to weigh in. And there's a number of things about the building design. I've been attending TRTs and paying attention to what the proposal is that are troublesome to my clients. And it's troublesome to them because ultimately they're going to be the owners of the building. And frankly, I think that the application as it's been tendered to you is probably incapable of being approved by you. And if you're going to grant another continuance, I would like and respectfully request that the board establish some parameters for the applicant to meet when they come back to you the next time. And I want to go over some specifics, and I will be very brief regarding what I've got to say. The last proposal that you saw had a stormwater retention area under the building with no relief valve for that, which means if it ever fills up, there's no place except under the building or to the adjacent buildings for it to go. My clients are concerned because they'll be the owners, and it would be like someone selling you something that really you don't believe is capable of functioning. And we've had civil engineers looking at these issues, and we've had soil reports and so on done. In regard to the building itself, you may have seen a sidewalk cutaway that sloped down, and to me it looks almost like a drain entry on a road. The reason that was done was to create an entryway to the back of the building that is proposed to be built. The fire code requires 2 points of ingress and egress. The building is so short it won't match the roof line of the other buildings on the boardwalk. Now there are code requirements that limit the height of the building, and certainly the applicant will tell you that, but there are also provisions in your code that permit a building to be increased in height if someone simply conforms to those code standards. If that was done, there wouldn't be a need to cut the sidewalk, which has a handicapped accessibility issue, but also, for my clients, will lead to a problem with water actually being pulled in towards the rear door of the building that they ultimately will own. And then the third issue, or actually kind of related to the stormwater, is that there's no reason to put the stormwater under the building. The applicant controls a large tract of property. And this isn't a freestanding lot. This is just a piece of property that they've picked out to tender to you for a site plan. They own significantly more property. And our engineers show that probably an additional 15 feet would permit a temporary stormwater retention, a permanent stormwater retention. There are a number of solutions. And we've talked about temporary stormwater with the applicant so that when they build a big building, they could move it. But the fact is that they've been unwilling to file the conditional use requirements that they should to make the building taller. They haven't looked at temporary stormwater, which would avoid the structural issues that we're concerned about. And they simply have not done what they should do in order to come to you with the building that's code compliant. Instead, we continue to come to these hearings, attend, you come to these hearings, and at the end of the day, what this matter really relates to is an effort to create a defense to a lawsuit. On November 25th of last year, Mr. Anderson actually testified under oath that they had no plans to build this building, that only after things got all processed through and they met with the partnership would they even consider building the building. Yet all of us are paying attention to this each night. Your resources are being wasted, and you're being asked to give continuances. And I know it's a courtesy and an effort on the part of the board to try and find a conclusion. But when you're being used as a tool or an excuse, then I think you should step forward as a board and take a look at how can you avoid continuing that. And if somebody's going to build a building, let them process it through, do what they should do to build the building, including meeting all of your standards, not a part, as it relates to arcade appearance. And then you can look at something, and you won't have objections from my clients in that respect. But it needs to be a code-compliant building that will be safe and habitable after construction. And the continuances simply allow this matter to drag on, and no one has spoken to the applicant in such a way that says, you've got to do this. Now, staff reviews, they give comments, and they say, for our reasons, we think you can't go forward. But I think the board needs to step forward, and if you don't think you can do that, then I think you ought to deny the continuance, deny the request, and let the applicant begin again. This has been a long process. I know it has been for you. And for my clients, it's an effort to try and reach a conclusion in this matter. The case has been noticed for trial. Whether or not that's going to happen, that's down the road in the courthouse, and it's not your issue. But the issues do tie together. My clients have an interest in the property, although they don't have any control other than participating through your process to try and exercise that control. So what I'm asking is that you establish some parameters for the applicant to come to you with a code-compliant request. That would be one that's consistent with the existing structures on the boardwalk, one that doesn't require the sidewalk behind the building along Ocean Avenue to be lowered, one that doesn't require that stormwater go under the building. They could use sufficient property in order to make that request work. And they'll tell you, we've got the option and we legally can do that type of construction. And legally they can. But as a practical matter, there are many issues that relate to that. Now isn't the time for me to bring that to your attention. That is my request to the board, Chairman.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there additional public comment? Yes, sir. Hello.
Good afternoon. My name is Judith Lane. I've not had the privilege of appearing before you previously.
Would you just state your address for the record, please?
Absolutely. My business address is 444 Seabreeze Boulevard, Suite 910. I'm an attorney. I'm with Halifax Law Group. I represent Boardwalk at Daytona Development, the owner of the property who has submitted the application. Ultimately, I was here tonight because I was under the impression that staff had recommended that this matter be continued based upon the last events at this particular meeting. The owner of the property has gone back to the TRT committee, is attempting to develop a site plan that is consistent with the city plans. We believe that it has been consistent with the Land Development Code continually, but for the essentially tortious interference by some parties to a piece of litigation that is in no way relevant to what this board considers. what is before you on this application is limited strictly to essentially architectural design standards. If you take a look at the jurisdictional matters, I would certainly defer to the city attorney that advises you on this matter, but the things that Mr. Morris is speaking about are well outside of the jurisdiction of this particular redevelopment board. And ultimately, a number of the things that are being commented upon should be left for staff review. Once again, the owner of this property is being somewhat broadsided with information by Mr. Morris on a last-minute attempt to derail the efforts of the owner of this property from getting a very simple permit. What otherwise, despite the political machinations that have occurred, would have gone through this process without any effort whatsoever. On behalf of all the litigants, I apologize to you for dragging each of you into this, but the fact of the matter is the role that you have is quite limited. Most of what Mr. Morris has said is not within your purview. We would ask that you not make it in your purview. We think that he is doing a disservice to you by causing you or asking you to make decisions on things that are not within your purview. And so what we would ask tonight is simply that you allow the continuance of this matter while the owner goes back, works with city staff, so that we can get plans for you that once again meet otherwise what is required by the code and attempt to submit something that is consistent with the code as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Do we have a motion? Second. All right.
For the record, can we be clear what the motion is?
Sure. I'll restate it.
Yeah.
So the motion, who made the motion? Tim? Gilbert? Moved DEV 2013-109 site plan 15 boardwalk to be continued until the next board meeting, which is May 14th.
Right. 14th. That's
Okay.
right.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Davis seconds. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Sure.
I have a question, Reed, of the staff. Can you give us some insight into what the staff's position is on this?
Well, staff, first of all, is a party to some of the delay. I mean, because when we go through the TRT reviews, we see that the elevations are changed and some things that have happened that haven't come before you. You don't have all this information because we're still at that staff level going back and revisiting this and seeing that there's some things that are just not acceptable. A lot of it's the technical engineering part of the drainage that you've heard about, but in some of the revisions that have been made in an attempt to respond to some of staff's concerns about, in the beginning, the height and some of the other things that were brought forward in the staff's comments, that caused some of the changes that they went through, and then we looked at it again and said, well, that doesn't work either. The lowering of the sidewalk was not acceptable. That was they had to go back. They had to look at the drainage. That took time, and it took maybe more time than they'd like to have on our part, not just the applicant, in terms of their timing. And they do have some timing issues too with the availability of their staff, people that are not available. This is just recently in this last round where they didn't have somebody that could just turn something around right away. They were not in that position, and I think certainly as we try to work through this, and I understand some of the frustration of this. It's taken a while, but that's why we're not putting reports in here and giving you that information, because it's changing. Why waste our time? Like it's been said, we're not going to waste our time. We're gonna come back, and we think we agree that the applicant should have the time, but I also agree that we need to wrap this up. I think that's the applicant's intent at this point. That's what I've been told, is that we think we're on the same page in terms of getting something concluded here. And so, again, you can be the judge of this, but I don't think it's going to go beyond the next month unless the applicant tells me right now something different. We'll expect to see something before you for a final decision next month.
I have another question. I'm asking the applicant, will it go beyond next month?
I do not believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Please step to the microphone, please.
Thank you. I'm not the engineer on the project, Mr. Henderson is, but my understanding is the reason for the need for this continuance is the architect that has consistently designed the plans in this case is in Paris for 3 weeks or so, and so that limits our ability to turn around the plans.
Slight correction, he was in Nashville, got back yet last night.
Okay, I'm sorry. I actually thought he was...
We have another engineer who is in Paris.
Okay, excuse me, who works for the architectural company. So we've got folks that are professionals that are all over the world, quite frankly, and we're dependent upon them to amend the plans that they've made. So barring any unforeseen circumstances with those professionals, it is our intent to get those plans back, sit with the staff, and have the professionals decide whether or not it's available to be presented next month, and that would be our goal. Nobody wants it done more quickly than the owner of the property.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there further discussion?
I have a question. What's the difference if we just stop it and wait till they can come with the plans instead of every month us having to vote for a continuance? Does that create a difference?
They would have to resubmit new fees, new everything.
Okay.
Any more discussion? We should probably do a roll call vote since we have 2 abstaining. Will you please do a roll call vote? We are voting to continue DEV 2013-109 Site Plan 15 for Boardwalk. We're voting to continue that until May 14th board meeting. Roll call, please.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Ms. Doe.
Abstain.
Mr. Paspalakis.
Abstain.
Mr. Mayara.
Yes.
Ms. Ramsey.
Yes.
Mr. Leek.
Yes.
Ms. Register.
Yes.
Mr. M. Paspalakis.
Yes.
And Mr. Phillips is not here.
So DEV 2013-109 Site Plan 15 for Boardwalk is continued until the May 14th, 2014 board meeting. Next item is DEV 2014-029, Third Amendment to Gateway Daytona Blue Water Planned Commercial Development. I believe Mr. Merrill's here for discussion.
Yes, it might be, just real quickly, I'll just introduce it and say that you've had this project before, not you individually, but as a board here, and we approved this several years ago when I first got here for the Gateway, what they call Blue Water project. The hotel, you saw the picture I put in there. It's beautiful. It got modified as it went along through the process and got a little smaller than maybe what we saw here before. But it's really a beautiful product that was created at that time. The marina is proposed as a part of that. And of course, what happened is that this was caught up in 2007, and as the economy started to tank, a lot of people had to take cover and wait it out. And now that things are starting the dust is kicking up, it doesn't mean that everyone's ready to be able to get confident and finance everything that's out there. But you have a good product. The applicant is wanting to move ahead and do something, but they need more time. But to get into the details of the request for an extension of some of the dates, what I'd like to do is ask if the applicant could come up and explain these different dates and why they're asking for these extensions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board, Rob Merrill for the record with Cobb Cole, 149 South Ridgewood is my new office address. I'm not going to go through the dates with you unless you want me to answer any questions about them. There's a chart that was, I think, in your packet that says, what the dates are that we're extending. I will say to you that I've got some good news about the project, and that is this was not a bank finance project, so it's not bank owned. It was private equity, and the bad news is the gentleman who was the money partner in this deal died last year. Bless you. And so his estate is in probate right now, and that's one of the reasons why we need a little time. They were prepared to build the marina as the first phase of this project. For those of you that are familiar with it, it was intended to go in the opposite direction, but we came and asked for permission to be able to do the marina on the front end as a first phase. They got the permits and everything was ready to build the marina, and like I said, the money partner died. And so the good news is also that his son came to town, met with the city manager and the mayor about a month ago with me, and he is the administrator of the estate, and they have lots of properties around the state of Florida. And he said to me and the city manager and the mayor that this is one of the ones towards the top of the list that they think the family will keep and develop or be part of developing, so not liquidate. So we've got our fingers crossed, but need some more time on this one. This was a great project. I mean, it's one of our marquee projects here in the city at the gateway, at the foot of the bridge, and all of us are hopeful that it'll be built. So just need a little more time. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple. On page 3 of the request of the staff report, there's some properties that are not part of the project.
Mm-hmm.
Does the picture on the first page accurately reflects what will be there, or is there?
It does. It does. They work around that, Dino. Actually, what you're seeing is kind of the perspective from the south and west, so you're really not really seeing those. Those properties that are the out parcels kind of blend into the background there. The garage that you see on the right side of the picture there is on the north side of the properties that are not included. And so this was done by an architect. If you saw a bigger picture of this, you'd be able to see it better. But it wraps around those properties. It'd be nice if they owned them. I think that certainly would round the block out nicely, and they tried hard to buy them. You know how that sort
You're
of thing
always
goes.
representing clients that try to buy that other parcel.
Yeah, you know how that thing goes.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
unfortunate.
Anything else?
Yeah. Rob, is this the same project, the same plans as in 06, 07?
Nothing's changed.
Nothing changed?
No, it's the same.
I saw the original. It's the same?
Hotel, mixed-use project with some condos as well as restaurants, retail. Yeah, it's a great project. I mean, like I said, we all love to have it.
Yes.
All right. Are there any more questions for Mr. Merrill?
So basically, you're just asking for an average of about 5 years per each
Yeah.
of the phases.
Right.
For what you're asking for, do you think it's going to take 5 years to get it done?
No,
or
we're hoping not. Certainly want to get the time frame out there so we don't have to come do this anymore. Frankly, our hope is that the marina will come way sooner than that. I mean, like I said, they were prepared until the gentleman who was the money partner died last year to do it last year, in this past 12 months. So I'm not going to make any promises to you, Dino, but I can tell you that the 5 years was the date that we put in with some cushion and good hope that we'd be able to do it then.
Okay, thank you.
Are there further questions for Mr. Merrill?
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Merrill. Are there any other public comment? No. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion
Okay.
that we amend Development 2014-029, amending the plan development agreement for the purpose of extending development deadlines for the mixed-use project.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Go ahead. I'll second.
All right. So the motion is to amend DEV 2014-029 to provide additional time for completion of the project. Does that adequately sum it up?
Well, actually,
So-
it's a third amendment to the agreement, and DEV 2014-029 is the third amendment.
Okay.
But that's,
So the
yeah.
motion is to adopt the third
Adopt.
amendment to the Gateway Daytona Blue Water Plan Commercial Development.
Correct.
Okay. All in favor, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, respond by saying nay. Motion to approve the third amendment to the Gateway Daytona Blue Water Plan Commercial Development is adopted.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is discussion about drive-through regulations. If you remember the last couple meetings, this has come up. Reed submitted some information from the staff and was going to have staff here for us to have a discussion about drive-through in our redevelopment zone. Reed, do you have anything to add to that comment or that statement?
Other than I'm staff.
You're staff.
There's not a lot. I looked around and I'm it. So what I wanted to do, I gave you the memo and it tried to outline what our code says today. And, we're going through a new code and hopefully getting close to where this is getting on a planning board agenda where they can start to take a look at it, and then there'll be some opportunity for, once it's out in the public again, to have that review. We'll all get a chance to look at this and see what that language is. In the meantime, Rob Merrill was just here, is on a committee with VCARD. That's our in Volusia County. That's a lot of our professional engineers and architects and some of the legal profession who have volunteered to work endless hours, and so there's a lot of people that have put in their time to try to work with Clarion and staff to fine tune all some of the detail that's in this very large document. And one of the things in there that I was looking up the word drive-through just to see what we had in there. We had 113 entries in there, so it's being dealt with and addressed, and we'll have opportunities to look at that and make some comments. And one of the things that's in there, and I don't have this in front of me, is there'll be some tables where we have accessory uses, and drive-through facilities are really come under that heading of it's an accessory facility to whether it's a restaurant or a pharmacy or whatever it might be. And then the question becomes, in that accessory table, which areas should these be permitted or not permitted? And then one additional item is what standards should apply. We already have stacking in there for these drive-through facilities, and so that's pretty thoroughly addressed right now. I think the issues come down to where they can be right now. I think the plan is in the code is it can't be in the front yard. It has to be in the side and the rear. But there's issues with that as well about exactly how the sound, some of those things are addressed in there. And the question will be: is there enough detail? Does everyone feel comfortable? We saw I think it was the St. Petersburg example that we put in your packet last time, and I think what we want to do is focus in on probably one thing in particular. I mean, we can talk about drive-through facilities, as long as you want, but I think the primary concern and interest is where should they really be allowed and not allowed, and based on all of the information that I can find would suggest that you don't want to have drive-through facilities or drive-through banks or drive-through auto-oriented type businesses in your major urban centers. I mean, it's been done in the past. It can be done. But I think if you allow it, there should be some additional scrutiny, at least at the level of this board or somebody reviewing a site plan that would make a special exception for that.
I just had a question, because you were talking about accessory uses, and the way I read 7, where it says restaurants A2, is that the A2 restaurants are established as permitted accessory uses. So I'm reading this as like a Subway within a gas station. Am I reading this correct? Or however A2 is defined?
You're talking about number 2, business services?
No, right below that. It says restaurants A2, where
Okay.
A2 restaurants are established as permitted accessory uses. It doesn't say the drive-through is an accessory use. It says that the A2 restaurant is an accessory use.
That's right.
So you're talking about a restaurant within an establishment where the restaurant is accessory to the establishment's use.
The definition of an A2 restaurant includes that drive-through.
The definition of an A2 restaurant includes the drive-through?
So I think the question might be where a restaurant is inside another, is part of a bigger facility. It could be a hotel, it could be something else that it happens to be attached to.
Okay, so that's what this is referring to then.
Right. It's really talking about the where there's an accessory business, but it could also be a permitted use. It's not just accessory. And in this case, I think I read this to be the accessory uses. It's a permitted accessory use.
Okay. All right, I was just asking that for clarification purposes.
Yeah.
But as far as when you're talking about an urban area, I have seen drive-through restaurants on every A1A that I've been to in the state of Florida, from Jacksonville to Fort Lauderdale to Miami to where have you, you know, or Miami, it's not A1A, but it's, you know, I mean, there's major thoroughfares all over the state that do have it. So, I mean, but I agree with you. There should be, if we are to adopt it, well, there should be some limitations as to, I mean, we should consider everything and try to figure out how to make it work. Mm-hmm. And I did like that St. Petersburg example that you did bring before us last month.
Well, what we intend to do as a staff, and when we're bringing this back, is we're going to have an opportunity at that time to bring up the St. Petersburg example and tweak some of the drive-through facility stuff at that time.
Yeah.
My recommendation is that if we've got some concerns where they should be, that we look at that table as it comes forward to us, and we just can make our recommendations.
Minimum lot sizes where this would apply is another way of making sure that some of the parameters that we use could be applied.
That's right. And a lot of times, right off the bat, stacking of vehicles knocks out some of the opportunities. Right. I'll give you the Dunkin' Donuts over on A1A, right across from the Ocean Walk, and that is just too small. It can't handle that, so it's not going to have one of those.
And to give you another example, if you looked at the Dunkin' Donuts that used to be on the corner of Nova and Granada, that one used to spill over onto Granada Avenue big time, and basically the city encouraged it to move, and basically that's why you see the new Dunkin' Donuts further down on Nova Road. But that used to be a problem. So, I mean, I could see where the stacking could be, on smaller lots could be a problem. But on bigger lots, I think we need to accommodate for it.
So what I would ask is that we let the land development code rewrite kind of get out in front, and so that we can react to that and look what we need to do to incorporate drive-through. If you've got comments about where exactly these things should be, we can look at that chart and then make some comments at that time.
You're talking about the Clarion?
Yes, the Clarion rewrite.
Okay, and where are they with that?
They're intending to get to, looking for staff, I don't see them, but we're intending to get that as soon as possible. Those are the marching orders to the planning board. And can I say it's going to happen in May? No. I can't say if it is or it isn't, but the expectation is that would be here by April or May. And if it's going to be on an agenda, it's going to be on the planning board agenda.
Okay, because there was some things that I had a problem with.
Understood.
I think that's the one that rendered one of my father-in-law's property as grandfathered in, which, I don't agree to that point of view.
So I have it in writing.
So Reed, your recommendation is that we wait till we see what the LDC says,
Yes.
and then provide guidance, comments, suggestions, once we see what...
Right. I think we open this with a discussion, about anything that the board is interested in discussing at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And we know drive-through is one of them.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Reed
Yes.
or any other discussion?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
One quick. I just want to make something clear, Reed. The area we're talking about is from where to where?
Well, when you talk about areas, we're talking about Main Street, we're talking about South Atlantic. Those are your jurisdiction for redevelopment areas.
Exactly. So we're, okay.
And then, the drive-throughs are throughout the city. Are they going to be different than the regulations that are within the redevelopment?
That's what I want to know. Is it going to be different? Are we going to have two set of rules, one for the rest of the city and one for the redevelopment area?
I hope not. I hope what we're going to see is, our design standards may be a little different,
Okay.
but in terms of the overall issues, what you're going to find is something like a shopping center may be handled a little differently, and we don't have shopping centers in redevelopment areas, per se.
Because you mentioned urban area, I just want to understand that
Sure.
we're talking about drive-through in the redevelopment area.
That's right.
Okay.
Drive-throughs in the redevelopment area.
It won't be too hard. There's not too many properties that were in that area that are going to be feasible for drive-through anyway.
Right. Yeah. What we envision is that for the most part, planned developments where people are assembling a lot of property, there might be that opportunity, not unlike what we saw with Hard Rock.
Okay. Is there further discussion? All right. We'll move on to redevelopment project update. Reed.
Oh, I have one of those. Okay. Let's see. I had a couple things I wanted to bring to your attention. Daytona Convention Center Hotel. We've been waiting for that news. I think we've already heard a little slice of that, but I just want to confirm that we have in our office the final site plans in for review. So it's official as far as we're concerned that we have something coming along. It's that when you see those a full set of plans in the office, that's a good indicator that everything is moving forward. Okay?
Without the automated garage.
Pardon me?
Without the automated garage.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, some other day.
Okay.
We might have to do something about the salt in the water first.
Reed, is that the Russian project?
Yes, that is Proto Group. Yes, thank you. The Streamline Hotel was purchased. I was allowed to tell you that is purchased by someone who wants to restore it and make some changes and make it a nice boutique hotel property. So we're looking forward to that. The Band Shell Summer Concert Series. Dino, you got your approvals last week from the City Commission.
Yes, I did.
So the Friends of the Band Shell, your associates?
Yes, I had a video that I gave to the, but you didn't bring it here, I'm sure.
No,
It was scanned for viruses and everything, yeah.
Well, it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to another great series.
Yeah, just to give you a rundown, it was successful last year. Once we started the tribute bands, it started to be go from, a few hundred people to suddenly 3,000 plus people every Saturday night. So this year we expanded the entire summer series to be tribute bands. We're starting off with a Tom Petty tribute band, and then it moves into Michael Allman, who's Greg Allman's son, doing the Allman Brothers tribute band with his brother. Hopefully, we might get Greg Allman up on stage, but I'm hoping. It moves then on to, I believe it's Foreigner, U2, Doobie Brothers, Elton John. We got, Beatles, Eagles, Jimmy Buffett, Journey, Bon Jovi. Every one of them is a hit, And I viewed the videos of every one of the ones that we've signed on, and you will be impressed. So just plan your Saturday nights there. From now, okay.
That's it? All right, thank you, Reed. So are there public comments? All right, no public comment. Board comments. We'll start with Tim.
I do not have any commentary or updates.
Thank you.
Period.
You there?
Nope, nothing at all.
Okay.
No, thank you.
Dina?
No, I'm good.
Tim?
I have the happiest news to share with you all. There is a restaurant on Main Street, who's a new restaurant who's opened, and they have fabulous food. It is truly the best food in any restaurant, whether it's on Main Street or otherwise. My friends I have several friends who always ate at the Mediterranean on Beach Street. And the owner, the Greek-American owner, Nazar, I have his name right there, Reed. You probably know his name, right? What's his name? Nazi, thank you. Nazi. He is a co-owner with Lou, who bought the bar part, the saloon part, and Nazi is a co-owner of Bad Boys Saloon. And the food is just absolutely delicious. And all my friends who were so disappointed that it went to the Mediterranean, they said to me, we heard it moved. And I said, it did move. It moved to the Bad Boys Saloon. So here's all these residents and friends of mine, older friends like me, and we're all down there Saturday night. Not only did they love the food, we just kept eating all night long, they loved the music that came in there that evening. They had a little bit different type of music than kind of the rock, hard rock sort of thing. And I think those people are coming back, and it was just the music and the food is great. So Lou says thanks to everybody on the Main Street and South Atlantic Redevelopment Board for approving the restaurant.
All right, thank you. Teresa?
No comment.
Dina? I have no comments either, so if there are no further comments, we stand adjourned.